Mead!
Hi, I'm Brian.
I am Derica, and I may be over-caffeinated. You're watching City Studying Brews.
Okay, so we did a banana wine a couple weeks ago, and a lot of people were like, oh, can this be made into a mead? Well, okay, here's the thing. Almost anything, technically, theoretically, could be made into a mead. So asking that question leads to the answer, yes. But we thought, why just make it a mead? Let's make it something a little bit different. Now, some of our favorite flavor combinations are peanut butter, banana, and chocolate. And I decided, do we need the chocolate in this one? We could have done it.
We've done a lot of chocolate-infused brews, so we decided...
Yeah, we thought, let's just do...
leave chocolate out this time.
Peanut butter banana. Actually, what this came from is somebody said you could call it peanut butter banana sandwich meat. That's what this actually came from. And I thought, well, that's great, except that I'm leaving out the bread. I don't think that'd be a good ingredient. So today what we're going to be using is some honey. And we are going to be using the Sweet Squeeze. It's not on screen right now. It is a Florida honey, and it is a wildflower honey. The reason I'm using wildflower as opposed to, I don't know, any of the other flavored stuff is because I want something that's more neutral-ish. I don't really want it to overtake. I don't want orange blossom or anything like that. So we're going with something semi-neutral, okay? We're also going to be using this stuff, True Nut powdered peanut butter. This is the actual peanut butter flavor. This is what's going to add the peanut butter. Now what this really is the oil has been removed from peanuts and it's ground to a dry powder. Does it make a bit of a mess? I think so. But it's the best way to get peanut flavor in without actually adding the oils and everything that come along with peanuts that we don't really want. We're also going to use a bunch of bananas. I don't actually know how much is here because they still have their skins on. A word about that. After we made our banana wine video, some people asked a lot of questions. How did we clean the bananas? You know, that's a good question. Did we eliminate the pesticides? I don't actually know.
I just hand washed them under cool water. I didn't want to use warm water because it just seemed wrong somehow. And one of the normal ways to clean vegetables and fruits thoroughly is with vinegar, and I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to have any vinegar residue in a brew because that could lead to making vinegar rather than a brew.
Right. So there was three options that we looked at. We said, okay, one of them is to thoroughly clean these. Actually, there's several options, more than three. Thoroughly clean these and disinfect them and depesticide it. I don't know if we can actually do that, which made the second option that we wanted to use probably not likely. And that was, apparently there is some enzyme in the skins of bananas that can turn the starches of banana into sugars. I love that idea. By boiling it like we did last time, we actually destroyed those enzymes, so they couldn't turn starch into sugar. And I thought, hey, let's do that. But then the pesticide thing came up, and I said, okay, you know what? We're just going to play it safe. We're going to remove them from the skins and just use the insides of the bananas. Done. So, to get started, really simple. We're going to put this bowl on a scale, turn the scale on, and tear it out, and we're going to measure how much pulp of bananas we have. I'm estimating how much banana we need for this. Probably somewhere in the 2-pound range. Something like that. And I'm just going to open them up. By the way, this is how you open a banana, from the bottom, not from the top. Do it the way the monkeys do it. This is going to be really boring, so I'm not going to make you watch. Okay, so now that they've all been peeled, as you see, it's about 2 pounds. It was like 1 pound, 15.3 ounces. So really close to 2 pounds. I'm going to call it 2 pounds. That works for me. What I am going to do right now is put the pot on the scale because we got some tearing to do here. And I'm going to get this going. Now we are using a bag, a boiling bag. It's a big one. It has a drawstring on it and everything like that. It has been sanitized in
The red bucket of sanitization!
People have been giving us whatever. You know if you watch our shows. So this has been teared out. I'm going to toss my bananas in here. Alright, so bananas are in. I'm tearing it out again. Now I'm going to get this stuff out. I don't really know how much of this I need to use. The instructions say 2 parts powder with 1 part water. Wow, that's very helpful. 2 tablespoons is a serving size. I think I'm going to go with a little more than that. Let's see. How much do I want to do here? I think we did an ounce the last time. I'm going to do 2 ounces. We're going to do 1 ounce. I determined that 2 might be too much. Now, there's an interesting side to this. We are going to end up boiling this, okay, to extract some of the fruit flavors and sugars and starches and things like that. So we can actually taste this must too and decide, does it need more peanut butter? So that's why I erred a little bit on the side of less, because it looks like a lot in there. Now, something else that I'm going to do. First, I'm going to take it off the scale. The bag is still a little bit wet, so it's just dripping all over the place. But that's going to be alleviated right now. I'm going to close up the bag, tie it off, which if anyone knows a really good way to tie these, please tell me, because this just, I hate tying these things off. And now, we have everything in that bag. The last video, oh my god, like 50 people use a potato masher. Some of them were actually genuine and they were concerned. But it's bananas, people. I mean, how hard is it to mash them up? Now, they were cold. That was rather unexpected. But I'll use a potato masher to prove a point. It's no easier. It's really not. I mean, sure, my hands aren't getting sticky, but okay, y'all know I just kind of make that as a joke, right? Like, I'm not that bad about it. I mean, I don't really like my hands being sticky, but I'm not like not freaking out about it. It's going to take a few minutes. Smells really, really good. Okay. It's mashed. Now I'm going to get some water. And I'm going to rinse off all the banana peanut butter goodness that happens to be on our potato masher. But also I'm trying to put water in here. Got about a gallon of water here. I say about because it just doesn't matter at this point. What we're going to do now is put this on the stove and we're going to let this come to a boil, okay? Once it comes to a boil, I'm going to let it simmer for about 30 minutes, then I'm going to shut off the heat, let it come to room temperature. Once that happens, we will have our banana peanut butter tea that we will then make mead from. Back in a bit. Okay, so like I said, we brought this to a boil. We let it boil for about 30 minutes, then we turned it off the heat, let it sit for a couple hours, okay? And now it's down to, I'm going to say about 110 degrees. It was 113 about 20 minutes ago when I checked it last. What we want to do now is mix in our honey and some of this must so that it all breaks up. And I haven't tasted it yet, but based on smell alone, I think it needs a little bit more peanut butter. Oh, you know what? We need to take a reading before we go that far, so let's do that. And when we take a reading, we can take a little sample taste to find out where it's at. Now, if you're wondering why I'm taking a reading now, it's because there are some sugars that are going to come out of this as it is, and we want to add that into our mix so I know how much honey to add. I'm aiming for something like an 1120. I know I aim for that a lot and I usually miss, but I'm aiming for that anyway. Well, whatever I did differently on this one came to 1020 so far versus the 1018 of the banana wine. So we got a little bit more out of this, which is interesting because we used 3 pounds of bananas in the banana wine, only 2 pounds in this one. Interesting. And I don't believe there's any real sugar in that peanut butter powder. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to get a little glass. We're going to take a little taste, see if we have the peanut butter banana combo just right. Looks lovely, doesn't it? It looks kind of like milk right now. It does not smell like milk, however. The banana comes through. I don't taste any peanut butter. Do you taste peanut butter at all?
Maybe
like just a hint.
A tiny smidgen.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead and just finish that. I'm going to pour this back in. So what we're going to do is now that we have our reading, and I know what I need to do, we need 100 more points. So being that I know honey is about 35 points per gallon, we have about a gallon. We're going to end up with about a gallon, I should say. What we want to do then is, that means we need under 3. We need about 2.5 pounds of honey. But I'll measure that out in a minute. What I do want to do this moment, though, is I'm going to pour some of this into the bucket, carefully. And then I'm going to weigh out that honey. Let me do a little calculation first, though. Okay, so what we actually need is 2 pounds, 13.7 ounces of honey. I'm going to round that off and just say 2 pounds, 14 ounces. Because, seriously. So let me get this going. Here, we are using the Sweet Squeeze. Links in the description below. Good stuff. It's pretty generic, meaning it doesn't add any unusual flavors or things like that. For something like this, we don't really want to add a lot of flavor. We just want some honey flavor. All right, so I am looking for 2 pounds, 14 ounces. Here we go. Okay, 2 pounds, 14 ounces of honey in the bucket. Let me get the scale out of the way. Before I go too much, no.
You want to weigh out your...
I want to put that right into the bag.
Oh.
So we'll wait. What I could use, I need the spoon of unusual size. And what I want to do is just stir all that honey in. And I did it with just a little bit of the must on purpose because I want to be able to be a little rough with it, swash it around a little bit, that kind of thing, get some oxygen in there. And we want to make sure that it's fully incorporated before we put in anything else. Derek asked me if I really needed to use the spoon of unusual size or a spoon. She's right. I really didn't need the big long handle, but what I wanted was the open paddle so that air gets into this, okay? Because I'm not just stirring in the honey, I'm mixing oxygen into the brew. And being that I'm doing this in an opaque white bucket, I can't just look at the bottom of the jar and see when the honey's done. So, got to go a little longer than I think, and that looks like honey to me. All right, now that I got that all mixed in, what we're going to do is take the bag out of here. Yum. I'm putting it right in there because all that is going to get used. We want to leave it. Now I'm opening this bag up and we're going to put this on the scale because I want to put the peanut butter powder in the bag just to be on the safe side. I'm sure it'll precipitate out anyway. Based on the fact that when we tasted this, I tasted almost no peanut butter, like very, very little. I think adding 1.5 ounces more is sufficient. That'll be 1.5 times more than we already added. So let's go with that. And to do it, I'm just literally going to pour it right in here. Seems like a lot. Maybe it'll be more peanut butter. I'm okay with that. There we go. 1.5 ounces of peanut butter powder. So now I'm just going to close that bag back up and tie it off again. Was it necessary to do that? Probably not. As far as putting it in the bag, probably not, but it didn't hurt. And I'm going to give it a little swirl just to mix that through. I know some of it will go through the bag, and that's all right. It'll be small particulates. I know it's going to settle out and all that kind of thing, so it's all fine. Now what I need to do is we're going to take this off the scale, get the scale out of the way. We're going to add the rest of our tea, or our liquid. And I'm just going to give this a little swirl with my hand. Those of you that are freaking out because I put my hand in here, trust me, they've been washed, they've been sanitized. It's all good. I am also checking the bag for any large pieces that might have not gotten mushed up. It's mush. It's pretty gone. So I'm just giving this a quick mix, and then we're going to take our last reading, which is actually our first reading, which would be our original gravity reading. Be right back. It has a slightly nicer color than the banana wine did. I say slightly. It looks more like a mead. Whoa. Don't shoot out of the thing. 1108. 1.108. Pretty reasonable. I was hoping for 1.120, so I'm only off by 12 points. Considering I didn't actually measure the water, that's not too shabby. Alrighty. Now what I mean by that is, because there's so many points per gallon in a must, if I don't actually measure something, I'm guessing. Okay, so we approximated, and that's where it's at. So the last step is it needs something to make it go. And that something today is going to be Lalvin D47 yeast. I have here half a packet because we are going by my rule of up to 3 gallons, you use half a packet of yeast. Over 3 gallons, you use a whole packet of yeast. 3 gallons, do whichever way you want. This is 1 gallon, so I'm just going to put a packet in. And if you're wondering why I'm not hydrating, it's because I have learned you don't actually need to. There's no actual advantage. And I'm just going to give this a swirl, mostly so I don't have to wash my hands again. You don't really have to mix it through. I just feel better. Since I'm not hydrating, I have to do something. Let me put on a lid.
I don't have it sealed. Oh. I just set it.
She just set it on there. Put on a lid and seal it. Note about the plastic buckets. They don't always seal real well. And we get a lot of people that say, oh, I started out my mead and nothing happened. Should I add more yeast? Okay, before you add more yeast, before you freak out, make sure that you actually have a seal. Because 99% of the time, that's all it is. And it doesn't change anything about your mead. Your mead's still going to work. It doesn't know if there's an airlock up there or not. So don't worry about it. When mine don't do that, I just look at it. I'll open it up and I'll look for bubbles. If you see signs of fermentation, it's fermenting. That's the way it works. Anyway, so what's going to happen with this now? It's going to sit for probably a month, maybe more. You know what? Let's call it 2 months. 2 months in primary fermentation. Want to know why? I have a feeling all those complex sugars and starches in the bananas need more time. When I made banana wine the first time, it wasn't good until almost a year. So I figured, let it ferment for a while. And this is mead. Mead itself takes longer to ferment sometimes. We have a pretty decently high gravity here, so yeah, 2 months. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.